One of Britain's fastest growing sports is mixed martial arts, or MMA. It's a combat sport fought in a large wire mesh steel cage, and as its name suggests, is the combination of many disciplines of fighting. But how did the UK people get into it?
Well, when I was younger, about 12, someone came into school and did a few judo sessions, so I liked that. When I went to university, at Freshers' Fair, I saw loads of martial arts being offered, so I thought I'll get involved in some of those. So I got back into judo, got my black belt, got injured and then gave up. So I started doing some of the striking sports like kickboxing, karate. Second dan black belt in karate. I started watching some UFC and stuff on TV and thought, well, actually I can combine some of the grappling and throwing of judo with the striking of karate and kickboxing. So that's how I got into MMA.
Well, I started off in traditional martial arts when I was younger. As a child, I kind of really loved old movies like Bruce Lee films, that type of thing, which inspired me to start training. Started off, MMA wasn't around then. Well, then I got involved in the competitive side. First of all through, we did some wrestling at the YMCA and boxing, freestyle karate, then I evolved to kickboxing, Muay Thai boxing, and obviously over those years MMA's come along, evolved and just completely changed the way people train. Everybody kind of cross-trains now, which is what we do.
I got into watching MMA because of my brothers. They were always talking about it, and being the younger brother, I just sort of wanted to be part of the conversation. So I asked one of them to sort of get me into it, and then they started showing me a couple of fights from the UFC and Strikeforce and other places. And yeah, within about a year I was hooked.
Despite its popularity, there is a lot of negative stigma surrounding the sport, mainly to do with fears for participant safety.
My partner particularly, she's often concerned that I'll be injured, but I've been doing martial arts for 20 odd years. You can get injured doing anything, walking across the street, so as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to run the risk of getting injured, you might as well enjoy it and do it wholeheartedly.
With continued pressure for proper standardised rules, these stigmas should soon be a thing of the past.
There are people working very hard to kind of improve MMA on the whole. We work closely with the UK and the International MMA Federation, which are basically trying to work to standardise things. Safe MMA, we work very closely with who kind of introduced the blood testing of fighters and proper medicals and making the sport safer in general for the athletes.
As with most sports, MMA is a great way for the UK to keep fit, and many want to see more women and children taking part in the sport.
Not everybody wants to fight, but MMA is also a fantastic way to get fit, you know, and not just that, but to look after yourself, you know, from a self-defense perspective. It's a fantastic art to learn.
Just as aerobics and dance and yoga is a great exercise, so is MMA, and it's great stress relief as well.
I currently do the biggest event in the UK, which is the MMA Expo. It's a big exhibition, mass participation event. So we're doing a big push, I mean, especially with the Expo this year. There's a big government initiative called This Girl Can, trying to get more women involved in sports in general. And MMA is a great sport for women to get involved in.
There are plenty of women that train, but in many gyms you'll see an imbalance of men to women.
Kids, yeah, they're the future of the sport. You know, obviously with kids the training's got to be a little bit different. You know, they're still growing, we've got to keep it safe for them. My two little children, they're involved, you know, they've both done it at a young age, and it's really beneficial. It teaches them a lot of good values, honour, discipline, respect, you know, as well as keeping them off the streets and fit and healthy.
I think some children, when they watch UFC, for example, they're wary of training at MMA because they think they're going to get injured, whereas in actual fact, in a child's class, they'll stay away from some of the types of techniques and risks of injury that you might see in UFC.
Still put off about taking a class?
A lot of people are put off actually coming in an MMA gym because they think it's going to be, you know, a bit violent and people won't be friendly. But if you do get in an MMA gym, most places are the complete opposite. Someone new comes in the door, they're not going to get beat up, they're going to get helped and guided, you know.
The future of MMA looks bright. With new major TV deals, it might not be long until MMA is one of the UK's new favourite sports.